Larissa asks, are you seeing any companies making an effort to address environmental concerns? Yes and no. So the companies that really need to deal with this are the ones who are building the models. So OpenAI, xAI, Anthropic, Microsoft to a certain extent, Google. They are Microsoft are saying that they're going to be carbon neutral. They're struggling because they're now throwing a lot of money into artificial intelligence, so it's becoming much harder to do. But that was no, sorry, not even neutral. I think they want to become carbon negative. That was the plan that they announced years ago, and then AI came along, and they're like, "Ooh, oh no, we've committed to this plan, and now we need to build lots of data centers and use a lot of energy." So that's a problem for them. So these are the companies who are going to be causing the most environmental problems because the training of the models is what uses up a huge amount of electricity. It's the training, not the inference. Once you've built a model, using it, we call it inference. Inference is relatively energy non-intensive. There are energy costs like going back and forward, and the fact that so transport costs for electricity and data, and the fact that you cannot cache results. So with search, things can be cached. With generative AI, it can't. Everything's generated de novo every single time. So there's a energy cost there in inference, but inference is still very low compared to the training. So the majority of the environmental burden here is going to be on the 5 or 6 companies who are building the actual models, building the data centers and then training the models, and also on companies like NVIDIA, so the semiconductors industry. That's where, as smaller companies or even large companies, we can obviously decrease our usage, but it is the people training the models that is going to be the bulk of the issue. So there are things that can be done, like you train your models when electricity is cheaper. For example, if you are using renewables, so solar, you would train your models during the day and then you'd slow down the training at night. You can buy electricity off grids where it is cheaper. So in Europe, that is France, because France have nuclear power stations. So that France, I believe, are the only, I might be wrong here, but I think they're the only EU country that has a power surplus because they invested heavily into nuclear power. Everyone else stayed with fossil fuels. So France, you buy cheap electricity from France, and that allows you to keep your training costs down as well. So there are ways to do this. And the good thing here, the good thing for humanity is that one of the main costs of creating a large language model, training a large language model, is electricity. So what this means is we have an alignment. We have an alignment of profit and environmental concerns. The large companies like Meta, OpenAI, xAI, etc., it is in their benefit to use as little energy as possible because it is a huge cost center for them. So they're also aligned to make their models more efficient because, again, that reduces the cost for them. So this is a silver lining here, is that even if we don't rely on the goodness of the hearts of these mega corporations and these 5 or 6 companies who are creating models, we don't need to listen to their social responsibility spiel in the environmental office. They can say what they want. We know that they want to reduce the environmental burden, the electricity usage, because it helps their bottom line. Ultimately, it reduces their cost, and that is all they care about. So yes, they'll release press releases and nice brochures about how green they are, but the reason they're doing this is so they can save money, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine, because at least it aligns them in the right direction, and they aren't just using electricity wastefully. Yes, wastefully. So they will make efforts to address environmental concerns, not out of the goodness of their hearts, but because of their bottom line, their profit.